You said it was the most important album sound-wise. What was the starting point then for this album? What did you...
I think this album from the offset needed to be the best songwriting that we've ever done. The most, I don't know, I was gonna say ambitious, but not even the most ambitious. Just almost the most simple and most simply the best songwriting. Like in a very, we were listening to like a lot of singer-songwriters, and we wanted to write in a very traditional, almost classic way, like with very restrained and very stripped back, so that we could make sure that the melodies and the songs were right, rather than dressing them up with anything before we'd finished writing the music. That was something that I think we really set out to do from the outset, and I think it informed the sound and the songwriting on the record a lot. Like it's much more melodic for that reason. It sort of leans much more towards quite a few pop sensibilities, I think, more so than any of our other records.
How did you start writing the songs, and what you said listening to singer-songwriters? Did you start by guitar or just piano? Or?
We started, it was just with the keyboard actually. We did some writing with acoustic guitar, but really it was just a very basic keyboard sound, and I think just like a Selena string sound and a drum machine in the computer, and then that was it. And a lot of the melodies we wrote with a sort of bell or chime sound, and then that evolved with lyrics, and eventually we're singing on them. But the original demos, which are actually you can actually listen to if you get the deluxe edition of the album. Shameless plug there, but there's a second disc on that with all of those demos on it, and you can hear how bare and how naked they are.
Yeah.
And that was our way of knowing that the songs were good, you know, that they could still stand out, they could still resonate with us, even though they were so basic and so simply recorded.
You already mentioned First Time Caller. Was it actually also the starting part of the album?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. When me and Charles went to a cottage in the countryside in the UK. It was also, I think, probably the first lyric that you had in mind.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
The record, was the chorus of that song, and it was, I think, the only thing that we added very early on in the making of that song was more words in the chorus to make it more poppy, like along the lines of. I think we actually inspired by. I seem to remember singing it in the style of Shaggy quite a lot.
To
try
yeah, we did, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
It's quite reggae. We do a very good reggae version of that song because it's sort of a half-time feel, so it's very easy to just slip into into groovy reggae. It's
got just the right tempo as well, I think.
Which you know, if we play a really hot gig one day, we might just say, you know what,
we're going
to do the reggae version because it's just that kind of weather.
Okay. If we can pull it off.
I read somewhere that there's a theme to the album, lyric-wise. What is the theme?
It's more a narrative than a theme, in that it's a sort of fragmented story of a young girl emigrating to a big city and kind of leaving her life and leaving the people that she'd grown up with. So it's really a story about adjusting to a new place, to new people, where you don't necessarily speak the language, or it's not your first language. You have no prospects, you have no real ambition other than the ambition of being happier or something like that. So
sorry, Charles.
It's all right. Please
enjoy yourself. Try not to sneeze while you're talking.
And yeah, you know, and it's just it just follows the story of this girl who tries to fit in and pretty much follows all the different challenges that, you know, you would have in that situation, whether it's linguistic, financial, romantic, you know, career, everything.
And how did you come up with this theme? What the someone that you met?
I have a lot of friends. We all have a lot of friends some that live in London who are not from London or not even from the UK, and also some friends that we've grown up with have actually moved now to other cities or in different places in the world. So also, I mean, London is an extremely multicultural place. My best friends at school were my best friend at school was from Lebanon, and we've been brought up since the very early days, having friends from all different.
I think it's actually it's very interesting you mention that. But I think actually it was in the news recently that London's just about to reach a point whereby white British people are in a minority, and I think that's testament to the city. I think it's such an international city, definitely.
Yeah.
It's so many different kinds of people and so many different walks of life. And I think one of the things I love about London is that everyone's side by side in London. Everyone's on a level playing field. Like there's obviously the really affluent areas of London, but usually they're surrounded or they're bordered by a lot of quite deprived areas, and I think that's something that's great about the city, because you're always grounded in that. Like, I could go on about this for ages, but it's
nothing's hidden away.
Yeah, it's like
everything's in the open.
Yeah,
and you're aware of a situation in any point.
It's like in comparison to like a lot of American cities where the suburbs become really affluent and really beautiful, and everyone just stays away from the more deprived areas of these cities. And
were all songs inspired by this theme? I mean, lyric-wise?
Well, not, yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's a couple of songs that deal with, the relationship that she's left behind and the way that person feels about her leaving, and then there's songs that are based on relationships that she's trying to make in this new city. So, but yeah, it's a big theme. I mean, it's effectively the theme of life. So there's a lot to write about.
Well, the album's called Big TV, is also the opening song.
Mm-hmm.
Your first album was also named after a song.
Mm-hmm.
The second album wasn't. Why naming the album after this song?
That song seemed to sum up the album very well in terms of the icon of a big TV being a really perfect image for the kind of flawed ambition of this girl, especially. And I think a lot of people they see this giant TV as a symbol of success or a symbol of wealth in some way, but and often sacrifice everything else in order to accommodate that, and that's what this girl does. She moves there with pretty much nothing and moves into a very, very much not an affluent area of the city, and is living in, on many levels, sort of pretty rough, but however spends all her money buying this big TV because that helps her think she's successful, or living the dream or whatever. And it's just quite surreal and quite an odd image and quite an odd title for a song and an album. However, big is such a basic English word, and TV I think is the same in every language. So it's really nice to feel that all over the world, even places where people don't really speak English at all, it's fairly likely that they'll hear the title of the album and kind of just immediately know what that is, which is very different from the name of the band, because we all, we often find ourselves in certain places where everyone's saying, what's a white lie? And it's such an English thing. It's not a universal name at all. So it's good to have an album that's going to travel well, I think.
Okay, and then maybe change the band name afterwards.
Yeah, we should do.
Yeah, we either
It's
freshen
about
up.
time.
Freshen
Yeah,
up.
could do a
Every
bit of
5
freshening
years,
up.
we'll just start again.
Yeah.
I think we should go back to Bonobo.
Yeah. Or Independent Woman was
Independent
my favourite.
Woman was really good.
Was my favourite band name for a day.
Death on Wednesday.
Yeah.